everyone, welcome back to the Profit Blueprint channel. Before we go any further, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of the important content that's coming your way in building your business and managing online marketing. So today we're going to go into the 10 steps of how to define and create your specific niche for a business. Now, I took a poll yesterday to ask a whole bunch of people exactly what their biggest questions were when starting out their business. And one of the other ones that people asked was how to get traffic to their website. So we'll cover that one too. But it surprised me that the biggest question everybody had to ask was how to properly define their niche. So that's what we're going to cover today, especially because that is really one of the foundation building steps of your business. If you don't define your niche in the beginning, you're going to have a very hard time getting ahead. So let's actually get into it. What is the importance of having a niche? The importance of having a niche is specifically so that the people you are serving feel special. You don't want to advertise a skincare product to everyone and their dog. They're not going to feel special. They're going to think, well, if this skincare product is so good for my dog, what in the world is it going to be like for human skin? You see the point? You want to identify the niche. It can't be for everybody because then nobody's going to want to buy it. Just like for my channel is digital marketing and online business building for small business owners. Now, a big CEO of Apple could watch this and I don't know, maybe he'd learn something. I doubt it because I'm covering the fundamentals and the how to start. Most big businesses know all this stuff already. Eventually, maybe I'll say something they don't know. You never know. But my niche is small business owners, specifically for digital marketing and online business. Now, I'm happy to help people who want to build an in-person business, mom and pop shops, or open a restaurant or anything like that. I'm happy to help with that, but they're not specifically in my niche. They could be if they wanted to have a website for their restaurant or their mom and pop shop, and they want to bring people to the restaurant from far off because they want to expand their reach through digital marketing, in which case they fall into my niche. But a niche specifically narrows down the clientele. It funnels them into your work, into your business, so that they know what they're getting into. They're already people you want to work with and who want to work with you. If I got an advertisement for best gardening supplies for this year, my mother would be very excited about that. My mother and grandmother have big green thumbs. They love it. I can't keep a plant alive for a week. I can't. I like to say I'm interested in gardening. I want to grow my own stuff, but that is not something I'm very good with and not something I'm honestly that interested in. Therefore, a gardening advertisement would go right past me. Likewise, my mother gets an advertisement for website development or enhanced digital marketing strategies or a graphic design video or website design tutorial. She's going to scroll right past that, not interested. Who cares? Whereas that's of extreme interest to me. Or how to market and sell one of your books. My mother doesn't write. I am an avid writer. I have several books published now at this point, and I've been writing since I was 7 years old. That's what the importance of a niche is. It helps define your target market, and then also it helps you create your content and your advertisements specific to that exact market. But we'll go into that in a little bit later in this video. So first, now that we've discussed the importance of having one, now let's go into how to create yours. How exactly do you define your target market? So, as I said at the very beginning of this video, we were going to go over 10 things. You can typically scale this down a bit if you want. I like to be a bit exhaustive in my information. I like to have more information than not. I see every single one of these steps as important, but If something doesn't seem important to you, message me and we can discuss that, because some of it is important. Step number 1, you have to identify your interests and strengths. Again, I would not create a gardening channel or even a cooking channel. I love to cook. I don't want to teach other people how to cook. I created a fitness business and found out, even though I am extremely passionate about my fitness, I don't actually like teaching anyone else. And the reason why is I don't have a lot of patience for call-offs and things like that. And a lot of people are perfect for that market, but I am not. I get frustrated with that a little too easily. So I decided, rather than me be upset and they be bothered because I'm not perfectly compatible for them, that's just not a good business for me. But I learned a lot from it, obviously. So figure out what you enjoy and what your strengths are. Maybe someday I'll start teaching people how to write books, but that's in the future, a while into the future if I do that. For now, I'm very passionate about teaching people how to build businesses. As you saw in the last video I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, so I know a lot of this kind of stuff. So for me, business building and digital marketing, a huge deal in this technological day and age that we live in, are what I'm very passionate to teach people about. Therefore, that's what my business is about, because I'm so excited and interested about it. So whatever your passion is, if your passion is gardening, create a gardening channel, a gardening course or book on how exactly to do that. Or have a gardening center where people can buy different supplies, flowers, seeds, fruits, veggies, all kinds of gardening stuff from you, or whatever your specific business is. So first step, identify your interests and your strengths. You are not going to enjoy being in business if you are purposefully doing something that you hate. I would never, ever, ever teach a math class. I'm good with numbers for me. I hate math. I did not do well in high school I could not figure out geometry at all. But our kids won't suffer for that at all, because I married a math teacher. And it's a huge joke between us of how much of the business math I excel at that he hates, and all of this advanced stuff that has never once come into my life that he thinks is so important, I've never had a need for yet. Maybe something will come up, but for now, none of it's important to me, and I would be absolutely miserable if I tried to teach math. I hate it with every fiber of my being. My husband loves it. Find your target market and find your niche. If you identify your interests and your strengths, that will help you figure out your niche. Number 2, analyze the market demand. Another mistake that I made in my very first business when I was an all-knowing teenager, when I created that fitness business, I didn't do the research into the market. There are a ton of personal trainers who have a lot more experience and a lot more leverage. They know a lot more people, and they had a lot more time to build up clientele. They weren't so young, so inexperienced. I should have looked more into it when I decided to start a fitness business. And that doesn't mean that I couldn't have succeeded. I could have. Just didn't really work out for me because that wasn't best for me. But I didn't look around at how many other personal trainers there were at the time. And that made my business a lot harder to get off the ground. For example, as another one though, there are a ton of business coaches. How am I different? I'm not just a business coach. I'm a business coach, a web designer, a digital marketer, and a bit of a graphic designer as well. Any one of those, there's a lot of competition. How many people are all for? Not to mention a mom. So analyze the market demand, figure out what you're up against, and then you can build from that. That'll help you narrow down what you need. Then you have to evaluate your target audience. That's number 3. If you're taking notes, evaluate your target audience. Figure out, based on what you like and the kind of business you're trying to create, what kind of a person do you want to serve? Not just age, that is a factor, But specifically, if you're trying to teach different forms of technology to seniors who may be going back into the work industry and have no idea how to use some of these social media platforms, or how to use some of the more, well, I'm going to be mean for a sec, some of them that may not know how to use anything on a computer. I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I'm a little mean, but I'm sorry. That's statistically, there's a lot of people like that. If that is your goal, where would a senior that is looking to learn how to use digital marketing and online platforms go and hang out? But otherwise, what if you're trying to reach Gen Z, or to teach them how to pick the best college, how to figure out their finances, because that is sadly lacking in the college and high school industries. That no school is covering financial literacy to the point that it should. So what if your business is all about getting to Gen Z to teach them financial literacy? Where does Gen Z hang out? Typically TikTok. But figuring out what kind of person you want to serve is a big key to helping figure out your niche. And it's not just age, because technically I'm Gen Z and I'm very financially illiterate. So that's my other business actually, is teaching financial literacy. But you need to figure out what kinds of things your target market likes. Again, I'll go back to the gardening example. If they are specifically looking for gardening, then are they looking to garden with flowers? Do they want to have a beautiful flower garden? Or are they more practical and less, less into the visual appeal, and they want a vegetable garden and fruit, and they want to preserve food for later on? Then you have two different demographics. You have one where you can specifically tailor your content to have the most beautiful garden in the neighborhood, get this super rare flower that will make you the belle of the ball in your neighborhood, or whatever, something like that. Versus be on top of your survival mode and have more food prepped in case of economic crisis or whatever than anyone on the rest of your neighborhood. Be the most prepared. You see the two different things for the same kind of process? Either way, it's gardening. But you have two different demographics here. And that's by no means the only two options in gardening. You can go into gardening for beginners, gardening for advanced, gardening with your grandma, teaching high school gardening. You can really get into it. And the more narrow your niche, to some extent, the better your chances are. Because if you just post online gardening everything, advanced, beginner, experienced, cooking from your garden, foraging with your, learning how to forage, creating herbs, creating veggies, creating flowers and fruits and all these different things, you're going to have a very broad market, and there's a ton of those. I mean, Home Depot and Walmart and Lowe's have gardening sections. They're big giants, industry giants. How are you going to compete with them? There's a local store in my town called Ace Hardware. It's two separate stores. One is all the hardware and tools that a man like my husband, a blue-collar worker, would enjoy. And I know a few minutes ago I said he's a math teacher. He has a math degree and teaches math, but he's also a hauling guy and an arborist, so just in case for that confusion. But for him, Ace Hardware is terrific because of all the tools and supplies he can get there, whereas the second building is the gardening department. Perfect for someone like my mother. I can't even imagine trying to compete with a business that big, and especially for one that's that local. And I'm pretty sure it's not the only one of those stores anywhere at all. Ace is a pretty popular brand, specifically for the locals, but there's more to it than just this one store or two stores. So you want to make sure you figure out your target audience to help narrow it down so that you know exactly how to advertise. Then you want to assess the competitors. Again, back to the gardening. If you want to have a business teaching people how to get started gardening and keep their plants alive for more than a week, I'd sign up for that. If that's your goal, you're not the only one doing that. I'm not the only one teaching business coaching or web design or digital marketing or anything like that. So you have to go look at the competitors, figure out what they're doing right, and what they're doing wrong. Learn from what they're doing right and assess what they're doing wrong so you can build and improve on that. Okay, then we get to number 5, which is determine the profitability of this business you're looking into. And what I mean by that is if you decide that you want to teach children how to chop down trees, there's not going to be any business for that, especially if we're going really young. No parent in their right mind is going to buy their child a chainsaw and show them how to cut down trees. That is not going to happen. There's no profitability in that. It's a significant waste of your time. Look into whether or not your business is going to be profitable. And I mean, extreme examples aside, if you decide you're going to create the next iPhone, unless you have something really, really impressive, you really don't stand a chance, because we have Apple, and that's the biggest tech giant in the tech industry that there is. Then we have Samsung and Verizon, Motorola, and a whole bunch of others that aren't even coming to mind at the moment. You'd have to come up with something beyond incredible to beat Apple. So if that's your goal, that there's not really much of a chance there. It's not impossible, but you got to be realistic. Determine how profitable this is going to be before you get started and invest a ton of money into it. I'll give another example in that fitness business I created when I was a teen. I thought there was going to be a lot of profit into it, but I didn't do any market research in it. I didn't just not look at the demand for a personal trainer, but I also didn't look at the area I was in. I tried to create a boot camp style workout program, like for college students, to basically become athletes, because that was the kind of fitness I was really passionate about. And after I invested thousands of dollars into it and custom designed everything and really built up my business and started advertising on it, then I realized I was advertising to college students and young people in a senior community. You need to do the market research and determine the profitability of your business before you get started with all of that. Now, I had to come up with one of two options at the time. I had to either completely change my entire program and the structure of my business and everything and cater to the senior community, because I know some of them were interested. They just couldn't do extreme level sports in their 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. That wasn't going to happen. Or option number 2, I take my business completely online and figure out digital marketing and all that, which I knew almost nothing about at the time, and build a business entirely online to reach statewide, countrywide, worldwide, to expand my audience and my chances of success, which also means that there was a lot more competition. So before you get too far into it, investing all this money and all this time and everything into this business, make sure you evaluate the market demand and determine the profitability. Big, big deal. Learn from my mistake that I learned as a young teenager. Now, then you need to, number 6, test your idea. Don't buy a company as big as Apple, or buy a building for a company as big as Apple when you're just starting out. Start with a small group. Do these people like your product? Now, another lesson I learned years ago, and honestly, I keep learning this lesson even though it should have gone through my head at this point. But if somebody tells you that this is a terrific business idea and they're so excited about it for you, whether they're a family member or a friend or even a stranger who's really excited to hear about this idea that you have, and they start talking and getting you really hyped up about it, they're so excited, and let them know when you're going to do this, and they're going to be the first to sign up, the first to do. Don't count on it. Don't count on it. Every single business I have created over the years that I have been an entrepreneur, every single one, I've always had people that get me really hyped up about it because they're so excited about, oh my gosh, I need a personal trainer and a health coach. Yes, sign me up as soon as you get there. And yeah, good for you. Great job in the business. I think I hear my husband calling me. And then my finance business, when I had a ton of parents that were telling me, a ton of moms telling me they had no idea how to really invest and help their husbands with the finance, because what woman knows about that? Which I thought was just sad. A lot of women should know about finance, and it was amazing to me how many women told me they didn't. And a bunch of moms that said they wanted their kids to grow up with a good sense of financial literacy, but they had no idea how to teach. So I started writing books and started marketing. Every single one of those moms, every single one of those young women, all were telling me that, oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I think I sold 3 books to that audience out of all the people telling me that they needed that information. Out of all of those people, I think I sold 3 books. I think one of them was my mother, actually. So 2 books. Doesn't mean I didn't still have my online platform. But of all the people that were so excited and telling me they were all on board, I think I sold 2 books. It might have been more, but I don't think it was hardly anything for the amount of hype I got. So I had to focus on my sales mostly being online. So if somebody gets you all hyped up and excited about it, don't get excited. And I had the same problem with my web design business. I had so many people tell me that was a serious money-making business. I should definitely go for it. And they know a ton of people who need a website. Fortunately for me at this point, I kind of knew the drill, but I still foolishly let my hopes get up a little bit with these people. And at best, I still have some of them that desperately want a website for their business or private coaching, but just not yet. Give them some time. Doesn't bother me. I know how to utilize the online platforms. I'm just saying, if you're working locally and that is specifically your business, don't get all excited by anyone that says they're all in as soon as you get set up. Now, some will truthfully be that excited and passionate about what you're doing and may genuinely need that information. But if we're all honest, most likely in your local community, the person's going to buy from you is most likely going to be your mom. Because moms care a lot about their kids' success. I remember teasing my mom after and telling her she was the only one I didn't want to buy my book because I wanted to gift her a copy. But she wanted to support me, which was very sweet of her. I just wish she'd let me help her with her business a bit. But she's not interested in digital marketing. She's specific for local. Anyway, so test your idea. That's number 6. Then number 7, define your unique value proposition. What makes your gardening business so much better than everyone else's? As I said with my business, there's a ton of competition for business coaching. There's a ton of competition for web design, graphic design, and published author, or selling books. Yeah, I'm a published author. There's a ton of competition for selling business books and how to build businesses as well. So I combined them. Nobody that I can think of or that I've seen online does all of those. Not in one business. So that's how I set myself apart. If I was just a business coach, that doesn't mean I wouldn't succeed, but I'd have a much, much harder time of doing it. Same for web design. There is a crazy amount of competition in this exact market. So I'll try to speed it up because I know this video is starting to get a little long, but I want to equip you with the tools you need to succeed. And this is a huge one. This is part of the foundation for building your business. So then we go into analyzing trends and future potential. There's a reason that they call it going viral in the social media world. If you post a video and you get, I think it's more than 1,000, or maybe it was 1,000,000 views. I think it was more than 1,000 views. And people start taking your video and clipping it or showing it around, or more people are seeing your content. It's called going viral. And one of the best ways to do that is by following trends. Maybe you've seen a whole lot of really, really dumb videos that are just repeated with a specific soundtrack or a specific action. Or how about some of those really, really dumb videos that people will do of wives testing their husbands? And it's the same dialogue, it's the same music in the background, it's just different people doing it. And you see it over and over and over and over again. It's because it's a trend. And unfortunately, no matter how dumb it is, sometimes that's the way to get ahead with your business, if you're following the trends. Now, if you're a professional business of any kind, you are not going to want to do all of the silly, trendy things that the young adolescent teenagers are doing. Unless your target market is those young adolescent teenagers. But you can follow along with different trends in different industries. Now, for example, a great trend going around, and I don't think it's going to die out, honestly. Ever since TikTok came out, more and more social media platforms have begun utilizing the short vertical video format. Instagram, the Reels are more popular than they have ever been before. Why? It's because Instagram is competing with TikTok now. What was most popular on Instagram all those years ago? And honestly, I was not an Instagram user. I'm still not much of an Instagram user. A little too pink for me. But in the old days, it was all about photos of yourself or an inspirational quote. You were posting regularly. You had stories. Occasionally, you'd have some reels. Now Instagram's all about the reels because of TikTok. And Instagram is not the only one. Even on Facebook, which both, it's Instagram and Facebook. They're technically sister companies at this point. But Facebook has the option for Reels as well. And YouTube. Have you noticed YouTube Shorts? That's because of TikTok. That's a trend that's not going to go away anytime soon. People like attention-grabbing stuff. They like those 60-second videos, and then they can move on with their day. So following the trends helps out a lot. And number 9, build a community. Find people that are like-minded within your niche. If you are into gardening for beginners, find people who are excited and want to learn about gardening. If you're if you are in a business of gardening for advanced or gardening for growing your own food, find people that are passionate about that. Not only will they be excited about the content that you're putting out, but they're going to be fun to talk to. They're going to geek out about all your favorite stuff with you. They are going to be watching your page with bated breath, waiting for the new hot tip and trick that you'll be dropping that maybe they didn't know about, or this new product you're about to launch that'll help them, this new fertilizer that'll help their plants grow twice as large or something. I don't know. I'm not a big gardening person. You get the point. Finding your community is going to help your business grow. And then the last, number 10, plan for scalability. Plan for your business to grow. If you intend your business never to get any larger than a side hustle, it's never going to. You have to plan for that. Implement strategies for the long term to make your business grow. I know it seems silly to say, it should be so obvious, but it's amazing to me how many people think this kind of thing happens on its own. It doesn't. You have to plan for it. And even if it were to happen, where you suddenly became as famous as Tony Robbins overnight, even if that did happen, you'd have no idea how to keep that up. You'd have no idea how to deliver that quality of content to that many people because you didn't plan. Plan to scale over the long term. And then the final portion of this video of how to tailor your content and products to your niche. I know this video is getting long, so I'm going to try to wrap it up real quick. As I started to state in the beginning of the video, when you focus on your niche market of how Gen Z is on TikTok a lot, and millennial women are typically on Instagram a lot, and older people are on Facebook or not on social media at all. Figuring out all of that will help you to tailor your content and specifically the advertisements that you are paying for so that you maximize the amount of people buying your products, subscribing to your newsletter, going to your landing pages and all that. You don't want to waste all of that money and time on an audience who doesn't care one bit about your product. Figuring out the niche markets will help you to narrow down where to go for your business marketing, how to advertise it. If you're advertising to Gen Z, you're going to use all their dumb slang. Yes, I'm Gen Z. I don't understand a word that some of my generation says. I don't get any of this slang at all. So I don't actually advertise to Gen Z. I advertise to small business owners, which typically tend to be millennials or older, but I'm talking about small business owners that are using digital marketing. Not a lot of older people are using digital marketing. They prefer the mom and pop shops. So make sure you figure out your niche market so that you can maximize the benefits of all the content that you write on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok. Any place that you put your content, you can maximize the style, the soundtracks, the speech, the different categories, how you deliver it, the examples you use. I was 8 years old in the 2008 housing market crash. I remember how it impacted my parents. I don't remember almost anything else, and I have no idea about so much of the experience that people lived through because I was 8 years old. So when people describe, in any of the financing experts that I follow, when they describe how we all remember suffering from the 2008 marketing crash, I'm over there like, nope, I no idea what you're talking about. I know it was hard. I know a lot of people suffered, but that story doesn't really apply to me because I don't remember. Therefore, I am not the target audience. You see where I'm getting with this? Maximizing the benefit and reach of your content to your niche market is just going to help you out in the long run. So I hope you were taking notes for all of that. I know this was a lot of information. I know this was a relatively long video. I did try to keep it short, but I wanted to go into all of the details of why this is all so important. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. Head over to the website for madamwebdesign.com. Subscribe to the newsletter for weekly information delivered straight into your inbox. You can head over to my LinkedIn as well for Madam Web. I've got a whole lot of resources for you guys, and I'm really excited to share. I also have courses coming soon that I'm really, really excited about. I'd love to hear from you guys and answer any questions that you have. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm really, really passionate about it. I'm a stay-at-home mom, for crying out loud, and I'm running a business while I have a toddler and a baby. It's doable. It is not easy, but it's doable. And I want to empower more people to figure out how to do all of this, to achieve financial freedom, create streams of passive income so they can take their kids and go wherever they want. They can go travel the world if that's their dream. That's what I'm so passionate about. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Share this with anybody that you can think of that might need it. I'd love to hear from you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.